Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stresses the summit between President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman comes at a crucial time. The Foreign Minister announces an Egyptian aid plane has arrived in Beirut airport. And the Egyptian Prime Minister approves a proposal to create a funding mechanism for development and infrastructure projects in Nile-basin countries. You're now watching the latest updates in Egypt on Qnews. Moving on for the latest developments. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has stressed that the summit between President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman comes at a crucial time in light of the regional situation. Madbouli added that the agreement encourages and protects mutual investments between the two countries and enhances joint investments. Madbouli also noted that there are several promising areas for cooperation between the two countries, such as generating new and renewable energy. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati has announced that an Egyptian aid plane has arrived in Beirut airport to support Lebanon in light of the ongoing Israeli aggression. Abdelati added during a joint press conference with his Spanish counterpart that Egypt condemns any targeting of UNIFIL forces in southern Lebanon and calls for the implementation of UN Resolution 1701. The two ministers condemned the Israeli operations in Lebanon, which have resulted in the displacement of more than 1.2 million Lebanese civilians. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati and his Japanese counterpart have discussed the efforts to reach a ceasefire agreement in Gaza and Lebanon. The two sides stressed Egypt's rejection of the escalation policies pursued by Israel and their serious repercussions on the security and stability of the region. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati has stressed that Egypt will not accept under any circumstances any infringement on its water security. Abdelati added during a joint press conference with his Spanish counterpart that Egypt is taking all the necessary measures guaranteed by international law to defend its water interests, especially if any harm occurs. The two sides also fully condemn the systematic Israeli aggression on Gaza that has been going on for more than a year. The Spanish Foreign Minister, José Manuel Albaraz, has praised Egypt's significant role in reaching political solutions to the regional conflict. Albaraz added that Egypt plays a vital role as a mediator to end the conflict in the Middle East and promote peace in the region. Albaraz added that the two countries have a common vision for peace in the region, which entails stopping the escalation, reaching a ceasefire in Gaza, and allowing humanitarian aid to enter the Strip. Minister of Housing Sharif al-Shirbini has continued his inspection tour of the Julius Nyerere hydroelectric dam and station project under Rufiji River in Tanzania, where he checked on the status of the installation and operations of the turbines in the project. Officials of the Egyptian Alliance of the Arab Contractors, El Suidi Electric Companies, which is implementing the project, explained that turbines have been installed and operated successfully, and now are contributing to strengthening the national energy grid in Tanzania. The Minister of Social Solidarity, Maya Morsi, has decided to form a committee to develop a vision for developing social units across the country. The committee will also develop a comprehensive plan to re-exploit the ministry's assets to represent more suitable alternatives for the work of social units and departments in the governorates. The plan will also study the complete digital transformation of social units to facilitate the provision of services, saving time and effort for citizens. Minister of Health and Population Khalid Abdul Ghaffar has announced that over 120 million medical services have been provided through the 100 Days of Health campaign since the launch of the second edition on the evening of July 31, 2024. As part of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's Bidaya, a New Beginning initiative, the campaign provided nearly 2 million services yesterday. The National Council for Human Rights has released its 17th annual report for the period between July 2023 and June 2024. NCHR President emphasized that the report is a key tool for discussing and monitoring critical issues and complaints, noting that it is essential for identifying current challenges. She also highlighted that the report's release comes amid a blatant humanitarian rights violations in Palestine. In economic news, Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has approved a proposal for the Egyptian state to establish a mechanism dedicated to financing the study and implementing the development and infrastructure projects in Nile Basin countries. This is according to the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. During a cabinet meeting, Madbouli stressed that Egypt pays special attention to strengthening its relations with African countries, especially the Nile Basin countries, as they are a strategic depth for the Egyptian state. He also noted that there is a great keenness to achieve a kind of economic and development integration with them. On another note, Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stated that remittances from Egypt abroad reached $3 billion in September. He noted that the increase strengthens the stability of the exchange rate. Madbouli added that the Suez Canal economic zone is witnessing significant growth and several projects will be signed in the coming period. Moreover, Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has said that part of the mutual Egyptian-Saudi investments will be in the industrial sector and other various sectors, explaining that it was agreed that the first phase of the electric connection between the two countries, 1,500 mega, will come into force next June. Madbouli added that in a press conference that the Egyptian-Saudi summit discussed bilateral relations and the signing of the establishment of the Supreme Coordination Council, whose main goal is to strengthen relations between two countries. Egypt's Minister of Planning and International Cooperation, Rania Al-Mashat, has said that the GDP growth rate recorded 2.4% during the last quarter of 2023-2024 during a press conference held by the government today in the administrative capital. Al-Mashat has added that tourism, communications and construction showed resilience and positive growth in the past fiscal year, noting the increased interest of large companies in the new and renewable energy sector. The personal representatives of the leaders of the BRICS countries are holding preparatory meetings in Russia to prepare for the summit of the group, scheduled to be held from October 22 to October 24 in the city of Kazan. The Egyptian delegation to the preparatory meetings is headed by Ambassador Raghi El-Tribi, personal representative of the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to both the BRICS groups and to the G20. And Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs for International Economic Relations. El-Tribi has described the upcoming BRICS summit as historic, as it is the first in which Egypt participates as a full member after officially joining the group at the beginning of this year, among a limited number of emerging economies. The summit is also being held amidst enormous international economic and political challenges against the backdrop of escalating geopolitical conflicts. Minister of State for Military Production Mohammad Salahuddin Mustafa and representatives of India Ashok Leyland Company have discussed bilateral cooperation in various domains. The two sides discussed joint cooperation between the Hilwan Company for diesel engines and India's Ashok Leyland Company in the field of producing engines with different power outputs used in power generation units, water lifting devices and other applications. The Egyptian natural gas holding company EGAS has signed a shareholders agreement with Greece's Koplusis Group to establish a joint venture company based in Greece for trading, transportation, supply and regasification of natural gas in Eastern European countries and Greece. The agreement is the fruit of a meeting between President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and chairman of the Greek group, during which they agreed to implement several projects, including supplying and promoting natural gas in Eastern Europe. In the stock market, Egypt exchange indices shows mixed performance at the close of Wednesday's trading session. The market capital registered 2.176 trillion Egyptian pounds. The EGX 30 benchmark index slightly increased by 0.13%. The broader EGX 70 EWI of the leading small and medium enterprises went down by 1.58%. The all-embracing EGX 100 index also declined by 1.34%. And now to sports. Mahmoud Hassan Trezeguet, the player of Al Rayyan of Qatar, has topped the list of the national team's top scorers with 5 goals during the era of Hossam Hassan, the team's coach, following qualifications for the African Cup of Nations after defeating Mauritania by 1 goal. 8 players have scored goals since Hossam Hassan took over the Egyptian national team, having played 8 matches so far, 6 of which were official matches, in addition to 2 friendly matches. Mustafa Mohammed opened with the scoring, while Ibrahim Adel scored the team's last goal. The effects of the autumn air mass are expected to begin on Wednesday and increase on Thursday as temperatures drop significantly to become slightly below the annual average for this time of year. The weather will be moderate along the north coast and will tend to be hot in the areas of Lower Egypt, Greater Cairo and northern Upper Egypt in the afternoon, while it will remain hot in southern Upper Egypt. Low clouds will also appear in the northern regions of Egypt, and the weather would turn partly cloudier sometimes, especially in the morning, with the possibility of scattered showers of rain on the northern coast and the northern part of Lower Egypt. And that brings us to the end of this news bulletin. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stresses the summit between the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman comes at a crucial time. The foreign minister announces an Egyptian aid plane has arrived in Beirut airport. And the Egyptian Prime Minister approves a proposal to create a funding mechanism for development and infrastructure projects in Nile Basin countries. That's it for this bulletin. Remember to stay updated by following Qnews on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram and TikTok at Qnews EGY for the latest developments.